Maria Hegele, lovely mezzo-soprano, and Lucy Colquhoun. Maria, if you'd like to just tell us what you're going to sing, just a few words about it.
I'm going to sing the second of 3 songs of Debussy's Chansons de Bilitis, which are, the poems are by Pierre Louis.
So, Maria, just tell us, what kind of love is this poem principally about?
Well, it's the text is quite sexual, I would say. There's no doubt in that. I think it's concerning the other songs in a second. The first one is the exploration of that fizzy feeling the first time she's seeing someone and being like, oh, actually, oh.
Yes, the excitement.
I think, yeah, and that one is just making the first experiences actually with that kind of love, basically. Yeah.
Yes, and there are incredible images that are very connected to nature, and it's incredibly sensual. Yeah. But at the same time, Debussy writes something which is incredibly elegant and simple somehow.
Yeah.
And it interests me that for such a passionate poem, the voice, the level of the voice is very much in the lower part of the range, and the accompaniment, Lucy, is very passionate, and I'm interested to know from you how you sort of manage that balance, because it's very easy with the piano part to overwhelm, but you didn't, you know, how you actually managed to find that balance with the voice in the lower register.
Yeah, just being careful with the voicing in the piano parts, and also moving, make sure there's always a feeling of moving forward as well, so that Maria is not getting stuck kind of breath-wise in any phrases.
And I'm sure you're constantly aware of trying to... monitoring that. Yes. Well, look, I think it's sounding really lovely. You've got beautiful French, being a European. Tell us where you're from.
I'm from Germany.
Yes. What part?
Southwest.
Southwest.
The border to Switzerland.
Yes. Okay. So, Europeans are great at languages, that's all I'm saying. That's not fair. We also are. We work very hard at it. Okay. So, let's get started again. And the first couple of lines, it's sort of it's a narrator situation again, isn't it? He told me that in my dream I imagined this about your body, your hair around me.
Yeah.
So all these images are all of those things I suppose that men fantasize about, having a girlfriend with the longest possible hair and just submerging it. I don't know, but anyway. So do you feel that you're experiencing it yourself, or that you're observing a story about it?
I think it's the first bit is observing, and then I mean at latest when she's saying "et peu à peu, il m'a semblé," then it's becoming a bit of a like a realization of what's going on.
And it's something that's pleasing for you?
I would say more overwhelming, and then...
So what I'm getting at is, you know, let us see what that means, or whether you're just standing back from it and telling the story of it, whether you're actually experiencing this incredible, wonderful, sensual closeness. Yes. Why don't we start again? Something to think about before we start. When you have a rising phrase, there are many sort of quite passionate rising phrases. Make sure you don't leave out any of the small syllables on the way up. And I want you to be mindful of keeping your weight through to the ground.
I find it, especially with these kind of songs that are very quiet and very delicate.
Yes. To keep grounded. Yes. Well, let's explore that a little bit. I think you could possibly use a bit more warmth and height in the sound in general. It was very beautiful, so I don't want to interfere with your imagination and what you're creating, which is lovely. But I just think it could have a bit more roundness to it, perhaps. Would you like to experiment with that? And that also, you know, includes being grounded and supporting the sound. So don't squash those fast syllables on the way up. Sing through the vowels, even though it's a faster tempo on those rising phrases. Thank you, Lucy.
Because there's these speech signs.
The quotation marks, yes.
If it should be obviously quoting someone, or...
Well, they're there for a reason, and it's sort of stating the dream now.
Yeah.
You know, I dreamt this.
Yeah.
So it could be more direct. It could be.
Okay.
Look, this is really interesting. I just happen to have inherited a score from a very important pianist, Geoffrey Parsons, and I just noted at that moment, Lucy, that Geoffrey has written mezzo forte at the beginning for your part, as opposed to piano.
Okay.
So you could maybe give that a bit more warmth to help the voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yep.
Just a little bit more. Not piano, mezzo forte. It's a big difference. Very expressive. So tell us now what? Okay, good. Did you feel comfortable with that being at a higher level at the start, Lucy? I think it set the song up with much more presence. Did it feel more cushioned for you to start?
I think, it's very exposed at the beginning.
Isn't that amazing? Now look, when we get to this, the third phrase, j'avais tes cheveux comme un collier noir autour de ma nuque et sur ma poitrine. Your U vowel, just a little bit before that, chevelure, needs to be narrower. Mm-hmm. And I think your vowels in this phrase now could also be narrower. Yeah. Things like tes cheveux feels a bit wide to me. I think you could get more bloom and the rise would be in a slimmer and more focused place as you're going through. Now there's a case in point where I want your consonants to be a bit looser and lighter and your weight through to the ground because you were just pressing it just a little high. Could you feel that happening? Yeah? So are you getting tight in your knees or your lower back? What's the symptom?
Well, I'm locking my knees all the time, I think.
I can't hear you, Maria.
Yeah, I lock my knees.
You lock your knees?
Yes.
Okay. Well, lots of things to think about all at once. Let's try and keep those knees just soft knees. None of that, because then we get stuck, you know. Get that air going. Can we pick up, Lucy, please? We got the same scores, yes. Yes, at the top of the page. So this is j'avais tes cheveux. Lovely, that's going very nicely. Just the last word, poitrine. It's interesting being in profile to you because it looks to me as though when you get to the trine, it's actually sucking it in, rather than sending it out. Yeah. So think of the small note before the long note and keep it alive and send it out to the back. Yes, same thing, please. Okay, shall we look at that descending phrase? Yeah. Yes. Keep as much height in the sound as you can as you descend. Don't let it be a big distance from the previous note. You know, really keep it very close as you descend and try and stay in a brighter place. Yeah. Can you really focus on your vowel definition? Could you just say that for me? That bottom line.
Et nous étions liés pour toujours ainsi. Et nous étions liés pour toujours.
Et nous étions liés pour toujours. We want to get a bit of a rounder colour there.
Yeah, I always find it hard to sing ooh on in that kind of...
Toujours, it's so important in French, and as we heard in German as well with the pamina, getting those vowels really rounded makes a big difference on how you then can travel up and have freedom in the rising phrase. Yeah. So let's just keep the vowel really alive. Yes? Could we go from that bottom system? Yeah, can we support better? Don't miss that syllable out. That's lovely. Now, have that legato, but let's get it back into the right tempo.
Yeah.
You happy starting there?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, the whole thing had much more presence. We could all hear it a lot better, a lot more warmth. So just be careful. It is en pressant, and we're moving ahead. Pour la même chevelure. Around this medium part of the voice, just get a little bit more height on it. Mm-hmm. Yes? It's around même chevelure la bouche. And just be careful that also being in profile, you're leading a little bit with the jaw as you're heading up.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just keep those knees soft, keep it grounded, and keep tall through the neck. And let's see what happens. So I'm giving you permission to sing with 20% less volume.
Okay.
Yeah? Just because it's a big crescendo to a forte, we mustn't push. We must just ease it through on the breath.
Yeah.
Keep resonating, your best sound. Would you like to do those two phrases again?
Yeah.
I think that's better, isn't it? So what's the text there? What's he saying?
So that, ainsi.
Yes, so that
the two laurels
have one root. Yeah, so it feels like you're so close to your beloved that it's like you're connected through one root and you become two beings that are just part of the one. So I think that's quite an important thing, and it feels a little undercooked to me.
Yeah, I was thinking about what the tempo should be like.
Well,
if it's
what does he tell us? Have a look.
Tempo, I think.
Our tempo.
So this is en passant, and then it's going back to the
to the original tempo. Subito piano.
Yeah.
So I applaud the variety of dynamic, but sometimes it's just a little too small to really, I think you can fill out the vowels a bit more and still maintain that lower dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Lucy, it's hard to pick that up. I think we're going to do the rising phrase one more time, and 10% less volume on the top, Maria.
Okay.
Be careful of that final consonant, la bouche.
Yeah.
La bouche.
La bouche.
Sometimes if you put the consonant and think of an H between that and the vowel, bouche, bouche, it just loosens the pressure.
Yeah.
Would you like to try it or move on?
No, it's fine,
Sorry to stop you again.
I'm dropping ra, si, I think, a bit.
Yes, before that, I felt you were holding the pitch high.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just keep getting grounded.
Yeah.
Yes, just that phrase, ainsi que de laurier. Ainsi que de laurier nos souvent qu'une racine. Good, that's coming. When you say qu'une racine, one root, Could you give me a more pure E vowel there? It's sort of in a very comfortable part of the voice, and it just feels a little over darkened.
Yeah.
Une racine. Yeah. Racine.
So the racine should also be a bit.
Racine.
Yeah.
Rather than racine. Because I tell you why. You've got really big things coming up.
Yeah.
And if in our area, a sort of pitch close to speech area, if we keep that really pure voweled, then as we move up, it gives us space to make, more height on the sound, rather than just,
Yeah.
So talking too much. Let's try that again. Just keep releasing the vowel. Don't press on any vowel on the way through.
Okay.
Good. I thought that racine sounded really beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds very clear.
And it really sets you up healthily. But now, when you went from et to peu à peu, between those two tiny fragments, you lifted right off.
Oh.
You didn't notice? It's interesting and it's worth thinking about. You were looking for a gentler colour, but in finding a different colour, you still have to have the fundamentals of connection and support and breath underneath it, or the pitch gets a little bit
funny.
Yeah. So if you could, because you're building to a big rise and a big sort of physical, sexual climax in this next phrase. So you need to really keep grounded on the way up. You've only got onto the third note and it's already flying high. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So just get that weight through. Okay. So, Lucy, if you could do the beginning of that bar, et peu à peu.
Should take a breath at some point, maybe.
Yes.
Otherwise.
Well, I think you could go right through there, actually. Now, what I'm hearing is that a lot of your vowels are getting a bit wide as you're going up. So could we try that again and really think about the slim height and really keeping it narrow, more narrow.
Okay, yeah.
Things like, il me semble, tant nos membres étaient confondus que je devenais toi-même.
Yeah.
Not que je devenais, because you won't manage the next phrase if it goes that wide and that shallow. Can you feel that happening?
Yes.
Yes. So really stay in the core. So we'll go from et peu à peu.
Yeah.
That was getting better. Did that feel better?
It felt quite easy.
Say, I can't hear you.
It felt quite easy to just keep it going and travel.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, that's a very big climactic phrase. And the way you approached it the first time, I just don't think you'd have managed to connect it right through to the end. Whereas now, you see, it's staying in the focus and in the resonance of the vowels all the way, not pressing wide or letting your larynx rise and going that way. That was much more successful, Maria. A beautiful sound. You could even keep working, keep thinking about your knees and just loosening through and getting your weight into the earth. Yeah. So we've just got these final phrases. So that really moves forward, Lucy, beautifully done. And then we get back to plus lent, the first tempo. Yeah. So this is even more reflective and slower. So make sure you keep your vowels alive all the time, and we'll just complete it.
I feel very chewy singing that line.
It doesn't sound chewy. It doesn't sound chewy. So let's think of it. What could be a simple thought? Just make sure that your jaw is free, because if you're feeling chewy, it means you're engaging a bit of jaw connection. So just release it here and don't let the vowels drop out. Feel that as though your consonants are on top of the vowel flow, like pegs on a washing line. They don't cut through.
Yeah.
It's just a different place than you're used to. You're used to it being more shallow, I think. It didn't sound chewy to us, but just keep working for that space and see what we can find. That's going really well, beautiful. Just when you get to the very final word, frisson, can you just fill it out a little bit more? Not louder, just let us hear it better. Just make sure you don't lose the articulation when it becomes a piano. Yeah. But that was really very interesting. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you.